So in today's video I will give a full video tour guide of my 7-day trip with my friends in Albania. We will start in Tirana, we will go to Gjirokastër, then to the famous Blue Eye, then to Dhërmi, and we do a whole hike also in Shkodër or near to Shkodër and Theth and Valbona, and then we go to Fierza for an amazing boat trip, and you will not really expect how it really went. So let's start with day one. Actually, this was one of the most beautiful areas we went to, but we only stayed for one night in Gjirokastër. It was a very nice town, very cozy, very good views here actually. I really had the opportunity to take some fun pictures here of the view. The sky was amazing, the weather was pretty good. Unfortunately, the day after the weather got a bit worse, but as you can see we had some fun. We had a little drink here, and the barbecue and the meat was amazing. We found a very nice little spot where you could eat some meat. It's very touristy, there was a lot of people there, but the atmosphere was very nice. It's a very cozy area, and I must say it's a must go, especially if you can maybe stay maybe 2 nights even and enjoy your time. We stayed in some kind of guest house, so not a hostel but a guest house, and then we drove to the Blue Eye. And here is something we need to talk about. This was so touristy, this was really not good, so this is something you should avoid by all costs. We also did a little hike there, and then we moved on with the car to go through a Roman historic site, which is not my cup of tea because it was also a bit worse weather. But you can see here there was so many people coming from the Blue Eye to that area where we wanted to go, the historic site, and we literally were telling them as a joke, like, don't go there, it's really not worth it. But you see cars on cars on cars, so I would definitely recommend finding another place than this place of the Blue Eye we went to. Then we went to Dhërmi, which is actually also a pretty fun area and close to the coast. I was not too impressed by the coastline itself. There was a lot of buildings there, so a lot of investment. So there's 2 areas. So here in front there's an area, and then there's an area more close to the original city. And this new build-up city where we were staying for the first night was so empty. We found a little spot where we could have a little drink, but you can see here in the evening there's no one there, and you will see here in a bit where we will go in the day after where there was so many people. So there's 2 little spots where there's one brand new with no people, and then the authentic area with a lot of people. So this is still the brand new area. We had a little swim there too, it was pretty fun. But this is the authentic area, let's say, also a bit built up with a lot of touristy areas, but at least there were people. We bought this food for like 30 euro for some fish. It was too much, way too much. So here we are already in day 4. We did a little boat trip in Dhërmi, so I had to fix this. Again, very touristy. We were not able to rent a boat myself. I have a boat license, so unfortunately I was not able to rent a boat there. But we did find a little cave like this, which was very fun to go a bit off the grid and go away from all the tourists, because it was really boat after boat. People, they were dropping at these beaches. So I would definitely not recommend to take the short trip. I would definitely recommend to take the boat and ask them to go somewhere private and not in these touristy places. So again, a bit disappointed after the Blue Eye to have this kind of very touristy experience. So overall we do feel that I think Albania as a whole is very touristy. So this time we are moving to Shkodër, a very cute city again. So Albania does have a lot of very cute cities like this one. Very fun. If you find a hostel there, I think it's pretty amazing to stay over there and experience nightlife. We found a little restaurant with some music, it was pretty fun. So very nice experience here in Shkodër. Again, I would have loved to stay maybe 1 night more, but we were very busy on a very tight schedule. So we moved to the next place, and that was going to the mountains. So here in the morning we left, we took a bus, we got some, let's say, food for our first little hike we were about to do. We took a bus, they dropped us, let's say, at the starting point. So we started doing already a hike here towards the Theth area. You can see beautiful weather. We had a lot of luck with this weather, and this was probably one of the most special hikes we did from the whole trip. Why? Because there was no one there in the whole trip down. And that's pretty nice. It was a pretty challenging hike actually, so it was clear that this hike was not on, let's say, the normal path that people take. So this is not the most touristy hike, no one was there, but it was pretty special to hike alone. I also have a trip done to Georgia where it was a bit the same, where there was almost no one here, and still it was so authentic. It was pretty rough, must say. It was, even some of my friends were lost because it was so dense, but I was able to fly my drone, and you can see how dense this area is, a lot of forest. So an amazing trip, and I like this first part, and you will see here where we were actually walking towards. So this was another blue eye where we were walking to here in a bit, and this is all the water from this blue eye that you see. So it's very beautiful, and this is the blue eye. So some tourists here, but it's a pretty nice spot. We didn't have the time to have a swim in this one. It's very cold water, to be clear. It's not a tropical area, but people was jumping off cliffs. Honestly, it was pretty dangerous, I must say myself. Also, these steps along the way were very nice. I like these types of exciting challenges, as you can see. So it's scary, it's maybe a bit dangerous, but again, it's not crazy dangerous. It's not too high from the ground either. So a lot of fun, and here in a bit you will see that we were walking closer and closer actually to some of the natural blue eyes, and that's maybe what I would recommend, is to try to find some more non-touristy blue eyes, because there are so many blue eyes, natural springs, let's say, all over this country. So you can easily find a lot of these waterways and beautiful places to have a little dip. It was around 30 degrees, so for sure it was hot, so you do want to have some refreshing dips in the water. And here we are getting closer and closer to another spot we went to in Valbona, which was an amazing waterfall, a bit ahead of the trail there, but it was a pretty nice spot to move up, but very challenging. So this was also at the end of the day somewhat, where we had to walk up this whole hill to get to this waterfall. But again, a lot of tourists, unfortunately. So it was a nice sight to see. So if you're there, you should go up, because it is one of the key things you need to see here, this amazing waterfall. If you do this hike, we were able to take some shots without people, and this was still not even the end of the day. So you can see the sun is setting more and more, and we still had a long way to go. My friend had some spar bag from the shop in his hand, and my friend also along the way here, his shoes began to give up. So he had these shoes for multiple years, and actually the glue finally gave up. And here actually this was pretty funny. There was some guy, a random guy, who made this bridge, and this was actually the only way to get over quite fast to the area we needed to go. So it was quite fun to see this dog go with us. There were also some cats here, which is always pretty fun to see the animals live in their natural habitat. And we just went through some of the people's gardens. They were brewing some alcohol. This was again some of the guest houses we went to with very good food, and we are already in day 6. This was again a very amazing place. We had very good weather again. We were very lucky that we were going towards the Valbona area, and here my friend actually found some tape and was able to tape his shoes, which is kind of funny to think about that he had to tape his shoes, but yeah, there's no other shoes there that could be found. And then we went into the mountains again, and here there were some horses, but we saw so many tourists that I even was a bit annoyed myself, because I really don't like to be hiking with people talking and screaming and doing all these things. Even though I'm flying my drone, who am I to talk about loud noises? But people are like talking so loud. It really reduces my quiet time when walking. Even though, as I said, I'm flying my drone, it makes some noise, but the moment it's like the drone is 20 meters away, you don't really hear it. But it is something I notice a lot in Albania, is that tourism is too much, and I don't know, like I would really try to find a hike again which is less touristy, but this is one of the main hikes you should do. The views are amazing. The point where we will go here in a minute has one of the best peaks of the whole trip, and it was pretty nice. But a couple of years before we went to Georgia, and this was the same type of atmosphere but with no tourists. So again, sometimes you need to plan a bit where you go through, but we did our best, and I had some nice drone shots here without bothering people. Let's say with my drone we went up to the tippity top, which was quite difficult to get to in the end because we were already very tired, but we got there. And then also the way down, for some reason we went this way to another village. So I think this is in the Valbona valley, and there in that other village way less people went this way. So this was very nice to see that as of this point where you have to go to the other side of the valley, which is still a couple of hours of walking, a lot of people gave up. So that's why I like hiking on, let's say, this age when you're still fresh. This is way better to do than let's say when you're old and you cannot do this last stretch here, because you will meet less and less people who do this last stretch. We also found some local farmers along the way, which is always fun. And here you will see that my friend actually had to tape up again and get his shoes fixed. Yeah, it was pretty funny to see because he needs to fix his shoes. You can literally, in this type of ground, you cannot walk without good shoes, so it's pretty fun to see. Then here again some drone shots from the bottom of that other side of the hill. It was so amazing to fly. And so my FPV drone that I have here is really one of the best things I bought. Just the experience of literally flying, because that's how it feels like. The immersion is so much. I really am like, I feel the adrenaline going through my body because it's so fun to fly. Unfortunately, I'm not able to fly too much because it's not allowed in a lot of countries to do so, and that's a bit sad, but that's just how it is, because obviously if a lot of people would fly drones, it would become dangerous, and a lot of people don't know the rules. I do have my license, luckily, so I do know the rules. This car was about to hit me. The Albanian people, they like to have some fun, but there are some buses actually here who pick up some fallen walkers or falling hikers who give up. We didn't give up this whole stretch on this dry area, where normally in this area actually there's water flowing through, but it was too dry. And along the way we saw some local kid with horses, and he was screaming to his dad to communicate. They don't have a phone, I guess, but he was just screaming, and it was pretty fun to see how he manages these horses. But as I was saying, this last stretch on these stones was very annoying for my shoes, because actually this was one of the hikes I decided to walk on sport shoes, and that was one of the worst decisions I made in my life, to do it like this, because actually running shoes are not made for hiking. Who would have known? But a couple of years ago I thought, okay, let's give it a try with the running shoes, but maybe I should have gotten running shoes which were a bit more sturdy, because there are special hiking running shoes that you can take for like trail running, which are pretty good, but mine were like the cheapest Nike shoes you could find. Here again, one of the amazing guest houses we had with some great view, great weather. So again, this was something, without this weather it would have been way less fun. I was so happy the weather from the beginning of the trip didn't go through here, but I was really exhausted. The meat was not too good in this guest house. He overcooked it big time. But here we are already day 7. It's time to go to the next part of the trip here, which is our little boat trip here in a bit, where we go to Fierza, and where we have an amazing view throughout, like a whole riverside between the mountains. Pretty amazing, but that's for here in a bit. So this stay in this guest house was very good. I would definitely recommend staying there. You have to book these guest houses in time, because these get fully booked easily, and especially if you have like a group like we had with 8 people, then it will be difficult for you to book it, because there's not too many places where you can stay. Here we were waiting on the boat. There's a little cafeteria where you can wait, and the boat can actually be used for trucks and cars, which is kind of interesting, because you would not expect too many people to be able to sit there, but we were able to sit at the top. There are also some smaller boats like this one who can bring you to different areas. For me, this boat trip of a couple of hours was for me enough to have the experience that you should have. These are some majestic looking let's say, mountains into this green water. It was truly amazing. It does remind me of some of the movies they have with yeah, like in Hollywood movies, where they have similar kind of cliffs like this. I think in Vietnam, where I went, there's a similar area like this, Halong Bay, with similar kind of mountains going straight into the water. It's a very, very nice sight to see. So I really liked this experience with this boat. It was a long trip, but I think it's a must do, especially if it fits within, let's say, the planning we had, where we went back with this boat to Shkodër. From Shkodër we went then back to Tirana. That's what we will show here in a bit. But I have so many great shots of these mountains going straight into the water, so it was a very, very nice experience. So definitely recommend. At the end of this trip you will see that we arrive at the area where we have to go through a tunnel. And after this tunnel there was a bus that was again going to pick us up, and that was all planned in advance. So you need to do some planning and to make sure that you book these buses in advance so they can pick you up. So here is that tunnel, and a lot of people here. You can see how many people actually do this whole trip. It is quite touristy, but because Albania is quite rough still, it's let's say still developing in some ways. Obviously it's a developed country, but it is still rough and authentic. So I do like that aspect, but I don't like the fact that Albania has been hyped up a lot. And here you can see my friend actually in Tirana, he gave up his shoes, threw them in the trash, and put on some slippers. So here you can see that we took some fish at the end of the week. We went back to the airport and we had a little drink still. It was pretty nice to be in Tirana. I didn't fully experience Tirana, unfortunately. I was one day late, so my friends had some fun in Tirana, had a little drink. And here in the last day I had the chance to at least see Tirana a bit. It looked like a very beautiful city. And this is day 8, time to go back, take our flight back to home. In my case, I went back to Dubai to do my work, and I had an opportunity to take the business lounge here, which was very good actually. And I had one little souvenir, which I always do when I go traveling. I took a beer glass. That's what I always do, and it's a Pesha beer glass I could buy in the airport. Normally you can never buy it, but I was able to buy it. So if you like it, have a look at my channel, like this video, let me know what you think, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.